friends, welcome to my channel. Today I'm participating in an open collaboration that is hosted by my good friend Annie from Crafting with Annie Jones, and it is called a Christmas Palooza. Now you may be asking, what is a Christmas Palooza? Well, it's anything you want it to be. You can do crafting, you can do decorating, tablescapes, shopping hauls, recipes, anything you want to do as long as it has to do with Christmas. So what I'm going to be doing is 3 crafting DIYs using thrift store and Dollar Tree items. So let's get started with project number 1. For my first project, I found this window pane at the Goodwill for $2.99, plus I got my senior discount of 15%, so you can't beat that. So I've taken all the hardware off and I'm just going to be painting this white first, and then I will be distressing it. So let's go ahead and get this painted white. I will probably have to do 2 coats of paint. And then I'm just going to take some sandpaper and do a little bit of distressing on it and bringing out some of the color that's underneath. I just didn't like it to be this creamy color. I wanted it to be more white for Christmas. The next thing I'm doing is taking this foam board that I got at the Dollar Tree, and I drew this snowman pattern on here. And I'm just going to be cutting it out with my X-Acto knife. And let's go ahead along the edges. Now do be careful with this so you don't cut your fingers. And this is going to go back behind the window pane. So let's go ahead and get the rest of the snowman cut out. I've sped this up here. And I will be painting the snowman. I kind of like this idea instead of using my wood and my scroll saw. It's much easier to use the foam board. I have my pattern drawn on here after I painted certain sections with some white for the snowman. Then I'm taking my black and I'm going to be painting his hat. And then once I get this done, there's that one little section right there you can see that I'm going to be using hippo gray for the underneath of his brim. And I'll also be blending a little bit of black in there too. The next color I'm using is light foliage green, and I'm going to be painting his band. And later on I will be taking some forest green and doing a little bit of highlighting on here. Also, I'll be making some polka dots on his band with the end of my paintbrush. The next thing that I'm going to be painting is the scarf, and I'm going to be using tomato spice. And I am going to be doing a plaid pattern on his scarf once this dries, using my light foliage green and my forest green. Okay, so now that this is dried, I'm taking that light foliage green and I'm going along here and making some lines for my plaid. And these don't have to be neat or anything, because you know, like when you're wearing a scarf, it looks all bunchy anyway. Let's go ahead and bring the other lines down. Now that I have everything done, I'm taking a thinner brush and using that light foliage green again and going in between here with a smaller stripe. I'm also going to be doing some of the white also, as you can see, with the thinner brush going in along the whiter stripe with the light foliage green. And then I'm also going to come down just like that. Okay, the next thing I'm doing is taking the light foliage green and I'm making little fringe at the bottom, and I'll also be adding the tomato spice on there too. Alright, so now that is all done, I've drawn on the nose. And I'm using my terracotta here. And then I'm also going to be taking some of the white and lightening it up. Giving it a little bit of a light shade to it. Okay, so now I've got everything done with the polka dots. I've even put on his eyes and his mouth, and I'm taking some of the snow text and just going along his hat and adding some snow. Now the next thing I want to do for this project is use 2 of these Dollar Tree Christmas trees, and I'm just going to cut the bottom off of this one because I'm going to be placing this on the outside of the window pane, and the other one's going to go back behind. Now they're both going to be painted with green, one with the light foliage green and the other one with the forest green. So let's go ahead and get this one done first. While it's still a little damp, I've taken some of the forest green and I'm going in and doing just some feathering technique here. Just give it some texture. And I'll be doing the opposite on the other one. I'll be doing it with the forest green and then adding the light foliage green for its texture. Now once this is dry, I'm taking some of the snow text and I want to add some snow to it. And I'll also be doing this on the dark green tree too. Alright, so here is all the pieces. So what I want to do is I'm trying to figure out where I want to place these behind. And like I said, I'm going to be doing that light green one on the outside. So now that I have everything glued down with E6000, I want to add these snowflakes that I have in this dead space of the one window pane. I think I want to place them like this. I'm just going to be using some eye screws at the top and some fishing line to hang them with. Alright, so now that I have that done, I want to be adding something here to the bottom corner just to kind of cover up all this space with the white of the snowman. So I'm going to hot glue these pieces down. And I've taken 2 pieces of this green foliage and I cut one in half, so I have 3 pieces here. And I got that off of Amazon. I'll put the link down below if you're interested because you get like 25 pieces for a great price. So now I'm just going to be making a messy bow with some ribbon that I already have. Get that cut off, fluff it out a little bit, and we're going to hot glue it on top of the greenery. Alright, so I also added some of this mesh from the Dollar Tree that looks like snow back behind. I think it looks really cute. It looks like it's snowing too. Alright, so let's get this little area finished. Let's go ahead and hot glue this down. And then I want to add a few more details inside the bow. So I have this ornament here I got from Kohl's many years ago. It was more like for, it looks like grapes. They had like wine glasses and grapes. Just going to cut a few pieces off here because I like these little bells for the green. They look sparkly, they match my bow, and then I also have a red one too. Just going to hot glue that in, and that is done. Now for my second project, I have these boots here that I got from the Arc thrift store. They were $7.99 and I got them half off. Now unfortunately they're not my size, they're a size 8, so they're a little big for me, but they're going to be great to be painted for Christmas for decor. Now the first thing I've done is taken some of my painter's tape and I made some lines here because I want to do different sections, and I only have 2 sections on here with the stitching. The first one I'm doing is with the light ivory in the front here. It's going to get this covered up, probably take about 3 coats to cover this black. And I also painted the back part with the light ivory. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull the tape off so I can paint it with some tomato spice. And I'm also going to be covering this up so it doesn't matter if I get a little bit over. I'm going to be adding some trim to this. So let's go ahead and get this section painted with the red. And it's probably going to take about 3 coats to cover this since this red paint's a little bit thinner than the light ivory was. All right, now that everything is all dry, you notice I left this section here. It is going to go a different color, but first I want to go ahead and get the heel painted. I'm using some medium foliage green on the heel as a base coat. I'm going to be doing some patterns over the shoe, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do anything on the heel or not. But I just want to go ahead and get it base coated real quick, and then I'll decide what I want to do with this later on. All right, now that that is done, I am going to be taking my stencils here that have these snowflakes, and I'm taking the light ivory and I'm just stenciling on some snowflakes onto the red color, just randomly putting them on. And I have to tell you, it's not the easiest thing to do to put a stencil on a shoe. Let's go ahead and do a smaller one here. I have two different sizes from these stencils. And I'm going to be continuing on over to this side. All right, now that I have it all done, I'm taking the light ivory, I'm dipping the end of my paintbrush in it, and I'm just going to be putting a whole bunch of dots onto this pattern here. Let's just put a few on here, kind of make it look like it's snowing too with the big snowflakes. Then I'm going to be starting on the front of the shoe next, and I put on my little pattern here of some holly leaves, and I will be putting some berries on later. So I'm going to be using forest green and light foliage green. Let's go ahead and get some of these painted. So I'm just going to go in with the light foliage green on these, and then I'll be coming in with the forest green and adding some darker tones with the other paint still wet. So here's how it turned out. I think this looks really pretty. I'm just taking some of that red and dipping my paintbrush in there, the end, and making a whole bunch of holly berries here. Go ahead and get the rest of them over here, and when they dry, I'm going to be taking the light ivory and adding some smaller dots inside of the red dots. Just go ahead and get these done. I really love this holly design with the berries on the front of the shoe. All right, so now that is all dry, I have drawn on some stripes here, and I'm going to be taking that light foliage green and painting in my stripes. And once this dries, I'm going to be adding some more stripes here. And you can see I got some on the heel. That's okay. We'll fix that later. No big deal. I'm taking the red and I'm going in between the green stripes and adding a thin red one. And I still need to do this, so we're going to do that after I get that done. I just went ahead and painted it with the red and some light ivory, and I transferred on this pattern here with my transfer paper. And what it is 3 peppermint sticks that I'm doing. So I'm taking my red, I'm going to be outlining the peppermint sticks here. And then I'll be adding their stripes. Let's go ahead and get these lined out. And let's go ahead and add some of their striping. right, so I've got a couple of these done, or 3 of them done actually, and you can see my little pattern over there that I drew on the transfer paper for that. And I'm adding some chocolate brown here because I'm making kind of like they're sitting with some chocolate sauce dripping down. This is a little candy theme on this section. So I'm just painting this on here onto the red. Get this covered up. And now I'm taking my extra fine Sharpie here, and I am drawing this out because of the light ivory there. It's going to look like some frosting in this section. And I just want to get it lined out. Let's go ahead and get the chocolate colored finished. And I've also added some maple sugar tan to kind of highlight the chocolate drip. All right, so now that is done. I need to go ahead and fill in more of the light ivory here on top of the chocolate color. It's either whipped cream or frosting, I don't know. I guess it's frosting. Okay, let's do a little bit more right there. All right, so I have my little candy cane things here done, and of course I still need to work on the heel here. Now I'm going to show you, I got the other one done, so this is what I've done with the heel. As you can see, this is the same as that, just opposite. I just went in with the medium foliage green and the forest green and did some stippling. And then I've also added the little snowflake pattern on there just to give it a little bit more. So I'm taking this light green ribbon that I have, and I'm going to go along the sides here and just hot glue it on so that covers up the line there, because it wasn't perfect, of course, when you pull that tape off. So we'll just cover it up with some ribbon. Let's go ahead and get the rest of this tacked down. And we'll trim it up, it's a little long. Okay. And then I'm going to finish up the other parts of the shoe. Now that I have that done, I have this lace here that I want to hot glue around the top. I'm just going to fancy this shoe up. I'm just going to get it all the way over to the zipper here. Okay. Now I'm going to be taking some of the green ribbon here and putting it across the top. It's a little bit thicker ribbon that I have. And I'm also going to be doing something to the zipper pull on here. I think these look really pretty. Are you ready to see them modeled? Here they are. You can see I added some ribbon, made a few bows here, and it might be kind of hard to see, but I put little snowflakes on the zipper part too. You get to see these up close at the end of the video. All right, now for the last project, I'm going to be making a snowman. I have 2 size styrofoams here. I'm going to use my Model Magic foam air dry clay, and it's stuck there a little bit. I'm going to be covering the head here of the snowman. I just rolled it out thin. Just going to pull this down, cut little pieces off where there's just a little bit too much. You know, I'm not trying to get a smooth look because it's a snowman, so it can be a little lumpy looking here. Okay. So the next thing I'm doing is adding a little piece here. I'm going to be making his mouth and chin area. I'm going to go for the top. So the open area is going to be painted black. That's the inside of his mouth. That's the upper lip and the lower lip right there. Just going to try to blend it all in with the rest of the clay. Just wet my fingers down a little bit to smooth it out. Okay, so now that I have that area done, I'm taking some clay and I'm going to be trying to hold it here so it doesn't roll around too much. I'm going to be making some cheeks on him. And these are going to be more of like a crescent moon shape. So go ahead and get this one on. Try to smooth it into the rest of the clay on the head. Use a little bit of water. Get that in there. Okay, and then I'll be doing the other side, and then we'll get on to the next part. So now that both sides are done, I'm going to hold that over here. I'm going to be working on his nose. He's going to get a cute little carrot-shaped nose here, a little cone shape. Just kind of make a little cone shape here with this piece of clay. And let's put it right here. Okay, I'm going to wet my finger and try to get it blended into the rest of the area here. All right, now that that is done, I'm taking this little round piece of wood here and I'm pushing it in. This is for his eyes. I'm going to be pulling this out. I don't want this thick of clay in here. I will be adding a thinner piece in here, but I want to get this formed first, make sure it's round. And I'll be doing the other side the same way. Now while that is drying, I'm going to start working on the bottom here, and I have a piece of burlap that I'm just going to put some texture in because he's going to have like little pants on. So I want to do the bottom of the ball, and you can see I added a little bit of a flat area here so he can sit. And I've also added this little rim here to define his top from his bottom half. And I made these strips here for some suspenders. I'm just going to do them on the front. I don't want to make them go all the way to the back. Just going to do them on the front here. Push them like so. Okay, then I'm going to cut off the excess at the top here because this is where his head's going to go. All right, so I did get his face done. You can see that I added some eyeballs in there. And I also have the little stubbies down there. That's for later, the little stubbies. We're going to put something on them. So let's go ahead and get it all painted. I'm just going to use some white. I'm going to paint his whole head here white. And then I'll go back in with the detail colors. And on the body, I'm just going to paint the top part white because the suspenders and his pants will be a different color. I'm going to be using Green Isle for his pants. It's a really nice Christmas color for the pants and the suspenders and his little stubbies there. Just going to get those painted. It'll probably take me a couple coats on here. Just kind of get this on here. Like I said, I love this color. It's a Delta color called Green Isle. It's perfect for Christmas. So I'm going to get all my coats on here, and while it's drying, I will get started on the head again. All right, so I'm going to use in this color called Nectar Coral, and I'm going to be putting it on his cheek area. I'm doing it kind of watered down right now, but I think I might want to put it on thicker. And then just do some highlighting on it. So I will be putting a couple coats, maybe 3 coats on here. Just want to bring out those little cheeks of his. Now that it's done, I'm going to be taking some of the white and it's a little watered down. I'm just going to be brushing it on just to give a few highlights on the cheeks. And just to tone down the nectar coral just a little bit. Let's just add a little bit more here. I want it to be a little bit lighter. All right, now that's done, I'm taking my terracotta and I am painting that nose. And then I'm going to be adding some of the white here. While it was still wet, I add a little bit of the white, and I'm adding just a little bit more just to lighten it up, just a touch. And give it some highlights here on the top. There, I think that looks a lot better. It was just a little too dark with the terracotta, but it is a good base color to start with. The next thing I'll do is the mouth and the eyes. I'm just going to paint them with black. Let's go ahead and get the mouth done first. Just going to paint the very inside black here. And I'm going to be painting the ball areas here of the eyes. I will be outlining inside the eye area, and I'll also be adding some little bit of eyelashes and some eyebrows to it. And I'll also be taking some of the white and putting little dots and some lines on here, as you can see. So cute. Now I want to take some of the white and I'm going to be making the little dots here and here. And I'm also going to do it on the cheeks. Okay. Now he's also going to be getting a hat, but that will be later on. We want to go and work on the body again. So I have these little snowflakes here. I used these on my shoes earlier. These are just from one of those tinsel Dollar Tree trees that have the gems and the snowflakes on it, but I need them white. So I'm going to paint them white, and while those are drying a little bit, I'm taking some of my light foliage green and I'm making some stitching marks here on the pants. And I'm also going to be doing them on the suspenders here. Be doing it on both sides of the suspenders. And I'm just going to do one stitch line around the body on the pants, just to give it a little bit of detail. All right, now that that is done, I'm taking these, and you know, my foam clay is still a little pliable, and these have little prongs on them, so I'm just going to stick them in instead of gluing them. Just going to be sticking them in randomly. I'm going to go around the whole body with these. And when I get done with this, I'm going to be putting some buttons on the suspenders, and I'm going to be addressing those little stubbies. One of those still had a little bit of white paint on, but that's okay, it got covered up. All right, so these are all done, and I have these little red buttons that I'm just going to hot glue at the bottom of the suspenders. Okay, and you can see what I have here for the little stubbies. These are little ornaments from the Dollar Tree. I had them all ready to go. I put some styrofoam inside of them, hot glued it, and I have a little dowel rod here, and I'm just sticking them in and gluing them into the stubbies. So there are his little booties. So I'm going to get the head put on now. Just made a hole and put some hot glue on the dowel rod, but you know, he still needs his hat, of course, but before I do that, I want to work on his neck area. I want to cover this up real quick. So I'm going to be taking some of that green tinsel that was on the tree, and I layered it about 4 layers just you know, twisting it around here as I go, as you can see. Just want to thicken it up just a little bit. Just wrapping it around about 4 times and cut it off here. I think that looks really cute. I need to put some buttons on the front still, but let's get this finished. I'm just going to hot glue it to the back. And then I need to make a little bow tie. Now I have these little buttons here. They are vintage. They were my mother's. They got a cute little pattern on there with the red and the white. I think they're perfect. Just making a cute little bow tie here really quick. And I'll be hot gluing this on here, but let's get the buttons in. Just gonna hot glue them on, push them in a little bit. There we go. Now we're gonna hot glue the bow tie on. And we're still gonna get that hat done. Let's do it. So I have some of this red foam, and I got this little pattern here. I cut my pieces out, and I'm just gonna be hot gluing this together. Just like so. I'm gonna put this little piece here. All right, just gonna put a bead of hot glue and fold it over. I will be covering up that edge later. It's just not sticking right. Let's try this again. Guess I didn't get enough glue on there. Let's put it on a little bit thicker. Okay. And this is for the top, so I'm just gonna put some glue on here and stick it on. And you know, it doesn't fit perfectly, but that's okay. We're gonna be fixing this hat anyway. Let's do the brim now. Just gonna glue it on here. All right, as you can see, it doesn't look good here, but like I said, it's gonna get covered up. I'm actually gonna be painting this too. It's just not dark enough. So I'm taking my tomato spice red and I'm gonna paint the whole hat here. I'm gonna do a couple coats of this. I don't really like the color. It's kind of got a pinkish tone to it. Now that it's dry, I have this ribbon here, this green burlap that I am folding over, hot gluing there, and I'm just gonna hot glue it onto the hat. Gotta have a little bit of green on here. All right. And now I have some buttons here that I'm gonna cover up that seam on the back with. Just gonna do green and white. All right, now let's do something to the top. I took some of my snow tex and I'm just putting a lot of snow on here, and it's gonna cover up that rough edge of the hat. Now I need to dress up the ribbon part here. So I have this pick that's from Hobby Lobby. I cut off a little couple pieces here. I have some holly leaves and some berries here. So first I'm going to hot glue the white on, just so there's a background so you can see those holly leaves when I put them on. All right, let's get those hot glued on. And I don't think 3 berries, those are awful big. Let's just put 1. I think 1 is plenty. All right, so the hat is done. Let's go ahead and hot glue it on. I did make a little bit of a hole there so it could kind of push on the curve of the head. All right, isn't he adorable? But you know, he still needs some arms. So I made some holes on the side here, and I'll fill that in with some hot glue. These are just off one of my trees, and I'm just gonna hot glue them in. And when the hot glue dries, that extra hot glue, I'm going to paint it with the white to cover it up. Let's put a little more hot glue in here. All right, but he is so adorable. Let's check them all out now. I love how all my projects turned out. This guy is just so cute, and you know, such a great deal on this for the $2.99 at Goodwill plus the extra 15% off. Maybe I'll just talk it like that. Okay, hold on. I love how all my projects turned out. I can't wait to decorate with them. And you know, this guy, he's just so adorable. And the price of this, you know, for the $2.99 and the extra 15% off, you cannot beat that. I am so surprised that nobody even picked this up. Very shocked. Of course, let's look at the other snowman that I did. He is so adorable too. I just love him. He's going to be so cute in my decor. And let's not forget those boots. These boots are so adorable. I can't wait to decorate with them. You know, I could never wear these because for one thing, you know, these are too big for me and I can't wear heels. But you know what? If you make a pair, I dare you to wear them. All right, my sweet friends, that's going to do it for the video today. I hope that you enjoyed it and I could give you some ideas on making your own Christmas decor using thrifted items, some Dollar Tree items, and of course, even revamping some items that you already have. Now be sure to check out everybody else's videos. You don't want to miss them. I do have the playlist link down below in my description box. And I want to thank my friend Annie for hosting this Christmas Palooza. I want to wish everybody a very wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.